ask a
Trump is like, why can't I get
question
this?
about this?
Yes,
I mean, I've
please.
been listening to
Yeah.
all of this about Trump and watching how this conversations go in the U.S. And I have one question about it. I mean, there's all these people in the U.S. who are on the conservative side who are aligned with Trump for all sorts of reasons. And there's all this tension around his presidency and attempts to pull him out of his office for various reasons. And like, what do you think will happen if that comes to pass? Because it looks to me from an outsider's perspective that your country is polarizing in a way that's not good. There's all these people that elected him and that are identified with him, and they're not taking this well. I really see this happening from an outsider's perspective when I come down here. And I lived in the States for a while, and it wasn't like this before.
Oh my goodness, take a look at these characters on this stage. There's the guy that was the lawyer trying to sue Trump. Bill Maher. Wasn't he just a liberal the other day? Now he's like some conservative. A panel of lunatics. And then there's the smart guy. Why are they making these characters so blatant? I mean, the question that Jordan Peterson is asking, why are y'all doing this? The country's becoming so polarized. But Jordan Peterson's a very intelligent person. And I think he either knows or he's just playing along. He's part of the acting. But he pretends to not know why there's the polarization. The Hegelian dialectic. The side that you don't want people to follow has got to be the most irritating. They're got to be the most vile, the drunks, the repulsive, because this is a stage. They want to steer you in a certain direction. Now, if they wanted you to vote for Trump, and the other side was a calm, demeanored, intelligent person who said, we need to go back to the good old days, not to make America great again, but the good old days, which I don't know if we've ever had before. Since time began. In this society, the same evil, wicked people have been ruling over us. We've had war, slavery, religion, lies, manipulation, disease, which is all spread by the evil spreaders. I'm convinced of it. All the plagues that's ever been were all, the bubonic plague and the Spanish influenza and the coming over here, wiping out the native peoples. We come here, we've got these huge cathedrals, and they just burn them down, said they were made out of paper mache. When are people going to wake up? People think they're awake because they found something that's not true, and they're telling everybody this isn't true, but yet they're still standing there on the stage, flaying their hands around, acting out this stupid charade. If Jordan Peterson can see that this is wrong, it's stupid, why can't he see that all the guys on the left are imbeciles, drunks, Mr. Magoo's, falling off the stage, doing ridiculous things, regardless of whether this guy's an actor or not. Maybe they just chose him because he is literally a senior citizen that's got Alzheimer's, and they're like, hey, let's make him president. He doesn't even know what's going on, and we'll just pull the strings behind the curtain. But you'd think they'd want somebody, the puppet, to look presentable. Dress him up in a suit and tie, make him look like he knows what he's saying. But instead, they purposefully find a puppet that would, be able to make people angry. Literally, you look at Biden and you get angry. When I look at Kamala, I want to throw up. I mean, one's pretending to be black, and the other one's pretending to be a woman. If this was a skit on SNL, it would be crazy. I might be rolling on the floor laughing. Well, no, probably not. I never did like the gay comedy, you know. I never liked the sex comedy. I thought it was vulgar. I never liked it. But I guess because we didn't like the comedy, they shifted it over to politics. Now they put the gay comedy and the racist comedy, which was never funny, and the Mr. Magoo stumbling over his own shoelace over into politics. And now the joke's on us. But Mr. Jordan Peterson doesn't know what's going on. Unless he's got some etiquette where you're not supposed to say anything. I might be wrong, so I won't say anything, but I've got to ask the question is, why are you doing this? And then they're supposed to say, well, we're doing it because we're actually doing it. Like we're orchestrating it. And so the logical answer to the question is, yes, why are you orchestrating the Hegelian dialectic? Are you trying to destroy America or the world? That would probably be the straight up question, but Jordan Peterson never has the balls to ask the question directly. And if you want to know why I never went viral, I mean, except for my initial virility at the very beginning when I shot up to 217,000 subscribers and never gained another 1 cent because they took me down, it's because I was interviewed by some higher ups, maybe some go-getters about to get a book signed people who are like, oh, Dave, you've got some interesting stuff on there. Maybe we can use this concept of Yahweh's the devil and flip it around and we'll get you to admit that Jesus isn't true either, huh? And I wouldn't do it. And so they stopped calling on me. And when one atheist wanted me to go on his show, and I listened to his gobbledygook for a while, I finally called him out on his show, and he cut me off in mid-sentence. And, began to call me names because, after all, I was the evil Christian trying to murder all the Gothic warriors of ancient yore. And I said, excuse me, but you are literally saying you don't believe in Jesus Christ, but you believe in some Nordic deity. Do you know that's exactly what the Nazis did? And that it was the Gothic Germans that killed all the Christians and infiltrated the church? Oh man, he shut me down. Now, the same thing happened to me. I said it on a nationally syndicated radio talk show. John B. Wells invited me on. And I'll be darned if he didn't ask me who runs the world. Well, I had to tell him. But he didn't like it. And I never went back on his show. You see, I can't sit there and hog-tie my own self, gag my own mouth, and use some kind of etiquette that says, oh, I shouldn't say anything. I mean, as I was sitting there listening to Jordan Peterson, and I liked the guy, I was thinking, I guess trying to give him an excuse. I was thinking, well, maybe he's so much smarter than me that he's learned something I have never learned. And that's some kind of etiquette, like we were saying, where the uppity, highly educated folks have learned some kind of etiquette not to slander each other, but instead of coming out and accusing the other side in their debate of either lying or being insincere, they simply ask a question that's got a backside to it, which is kind of what Peterson did there when he asked him, why are you doing this? It sounded chill, but the question was deep. But of course, nobody has to answer that question. They just pass it over and they're like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, things are getting polarized. Oh, we've got crazies on the left and jokers to the right. And yeah, well, this is not natural. Any ordinary orangutan or a baboon would know that this is not just natural, that the world is just divided up into orangutans and baboons. Take your choice. The world's crazy. And we've got to have law and order to fix these people because they're all a bunch of idiots. Look what they're doing. We don't know why this is happening. But no, Jordan Peterson was saying, look, you liberals are doing something so severe to the conservatives that you're going to start a civil war. Do you know that? And they're like, ha ha ha. And I didn't watch the whole program, so I don't know what they said in return. But I'll guarantee you, I can't really guarantee it because I didn't watch it, but I would bet money that the question was never answered. You see, the question deserves a good answer. And the only answer is that they're doing it because they want to start a civil war. And of course, in order to antagonize the supposed conservatives, you've got to be so antagonistic, right? You've got to be so antagonistic and so literally insane, irritating, not beyond irritating, but you've got to be pushing people, like shoving them. Maybe they'll swing at you. You can't get this nice, calm, kind, demeanored man to swing at you. You could call him all kind of names, but you go there and push his wife, and now he might swing at you. So this is what is going on. The left is antagonizing the right to start swinging. They want to create a civil war. They started the riots, and we're like, what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to stop this? And I think the point of it is that we're going to get to the point where we're going to want more martial law. We're going to say they're trying to convince us that it's just spontaneous, that the left just don't agree with the right, and there's no way to fix it. So there's going to be a civil war. I mean, right alongside the big actual war. I mean, look at Candace Owens coming out and calling Schmoozy a bad guy, right to his face. Not a moral person, not a Christian, not even a good religious person. I mean, he wouldn't be a Christian, would he? But literally saying he's maybe like worshiping the devil. He may be a Looney Tune or even a loony bin. And you don't do that. In the past, they've never allowed anybody to. That was anti-SEM, whatever. But they're letting her do it. And you might say, well, that's because she's black, Dave. No. She'd have been gone. But they're using her, a particular character, to say things that others aren't allowed to say. Because they want to stir this up. I hear there's a guy that's on Redacted all the time, some general in the army, I don't know, some army statistic guy that knows the war inside and out, and he's constantly now, for the last several months, coming on Redacted and other people's shows, saying that Israel's losing, Ukraine's gone, Russia's the good guy, Israel's the bad guy, they're going to be defeated. They're actually being defeated in Lebanon right now. They're not winning. That it's a threat to the existential survival of Israel, that they're literally not going to make it. And I'm like, well, in a sense, you've got a lot of conservatives that are kind of thinking that too. And the liberals are like actually giving billions of dollars to the Iranians and giving them nuclear, like, waste or something so they can make nuclear bombs. And what a way. I mean, we all know they created ISIS. Now they're creating another ISIS type Chapo underground evil Chinese sleeper cell here in America. They're doing it on purpose. They've done it before, but we're like, well, let's just wait till Trump gets into office. He'll make America great again. Okay, so everything in the world has been orchestrated. They literally made the left up the way it has been for the last 30 years. I mean, this goes back to Jesse Jackson. Like, what an idiot, right? And Al Sharpton, right? This has been going on. This insanity on the left. And then we get to Pelosi, with the drink in one hand and the slur in her speech and the Alzheimer's in the other. And you've got to wonder, you got to realize that this is on purpose. We're sick and tired of them. We think they're imbeciles. We hate them. And yet they keep winning. Remember how Trump's saying, winning. We're getting tired of winning. No, we're losing. But who's we? The world. The world is losing because the idiots have taken over. And they're doing it on purpose because they're trying to push us into a pen that they have designed for us. This is what the COV, the thingy was about. This lasted, I don't know, what is it, 2 years? I thought it was the end of the world. I thought it was the end of the United States as we knew it. I couldn't go to the Walmart no more. I wasn't allowed to go out and buy and sell anymore. This must be it, right? Got to wear a Mickey Mouse mask. If you go down this, it was ridiculous. And think about it, guys. About as ridiculous as Pelosi being the most powerful woman in the world, standing on this pulpit, drunk off of her, butt. Her husband at home having a little gay affair with some guy that hits him in the head with a hammer. And all this is going on. And our other president's married to a man that's dressed up like a woman. And the secretary of, education is a man, a big fat man that's dressed up like a big fat woman. This is no different on the Richter scale of insanity than the thingy. And yet, while the thingy was going on, most people thought, oh, the thingy's a real thingy. And yeah, you should wear a mask everywhere you go. And yeah, the whole world's dying. And yet, there was no thingy. But we shut the world down for nothing. A common cold. But what did they gain from that? They found out that human beings will fall for anything. Nobody demanded that the bullshit stop. Nobody in politics. I mean, I was thinking about if people think that Trump's a good guy, you would ask yourself, why did he do the warp speed, or why did he wear the mask? And was he just stupid? He didn't know. He's a good guy. He just didn't know, Dave. Well, we better find somebody that knows something pretty quick. But see, I don't think so. I mean, I was thinking about the possibility that I suppose a lot of you Trumpers think in your heads. This has got to be something that you're thinking in your mind. You're thinking, well, Trump's got to be a good guy, but I don't like the warp speed thing. So, well, maybe he's just being a good politician. If he came out and said, hey, this is a FRAUD, I ain't doing this. We're not doing the VAC. I don't believe in it. It's a hoax. I don't believe in doctors. I don't believe in lawyers. I don't believe in government. Well, then he wouldn't have a job. There's no way that he could be the president of the technocracy of Silicon Valley, which is the ones who run the world, BlackRock. You're not going to become president unless you're in with BlackRock, friends. And that's why Vance works for BlackRock. So it's calculated. He knows darn good and well. Now, some of you might be thinking then, well, yeah, but Dave, he's got to play along a little bit or else he'll never get in. Once he gets in, then he's gonna do a double agent on them. He's gonna betray him and he's gonna help the people. Well, man, you're sure banking a long shot there. You're gonna have to hit that white ball around the 8 ball without it going into the left corner socket. It's impossible unless you know how to do the jump over the 8 ball in the air and come down and hit the, yeah, I guess there's experts that could do that shot. But if you think that Trump has been spending his entire life becoming a billionaire, getting loans from the Rothschilds, creating the boxing industry, having a television program on NBC, best friends with evidently Epstein and Hillary Clinton, on the airplane out to the island. And all this time, he was just trying to work his way in to the top of this evil empire so he could tear it down. If you think that, you're fools. You are literally out of your gourd. This is a orchestrated stage. It's a staged event. All the people on the left are imbeciles, most of them probably actors. Look, a lot of them are very old. Maybe they really are senile. But some of the ones that aren't senile, like Newsom or Kamala, she's not senile. But she's literally got to be evil within her mind, because you can't see any reason why she wants to become president other than there's a lot of power, influence, and money involved. That's all it is. It's the same reason that the porn star tried to sue Trump, because she would never have sued him because she probably didn't have a case, but they wanted her to make an ass out of herself because they wanted everybody to jump on top of Trump and make it look like Trump was being persecuted. This was a show. When he was president, it was, was he impeached twice? It was constantly, the whole thingy happened. It turns out that his DOJ was friends with Epstein back in the day. They worked together. Nobody, the guy he put over the financial, the Secretary of Money or whatever they call it, he was one of these Bavarians, and he created the whole AI financial market, digital money that we're about to go into. Warp Speed wasn't just a Chinese attack on our liberty. It was a concerted effort by all the elite, BlackRock, Bill Gates. Look, if Bill Gates was some rogue, mad, wicked scientist that was trying to kill everybody, and all the other people at BlackRock were great people, don't you think that they would have said, you know what, this guy's making billions of dollars off of something that, come to find out, we were all hoaxes. All the trannies in dresses in the White House were just hoaxing us. And we didn't know. I guess maybe they wouldn't want you to find out that they were fools, right? So maybe they would just put it under the rug, right? But what about the billions of dollars that these other people were making, and the healthcare industry starts turning into an Auschwitz? And gosh, friends, if you, I can't talk about it in this video because we probably don't have time, but I have been finding out that it is so much worse than what we thought. I did that video about the formaldehyde that's at the McDonald's burgers and the fries and all the food and all the restaurants. This is why nothing spoils. But friends, it's much worse. It's in all the food, the bread doesn't mold. You get bread at the store and you take it home and put it in the cupboard for a week. It doesn't mold. It doesn't turn green. It almost stays fresh. It's been on the shelf for a couple of days. It was in the truck for a day or two. It was at the factory for a day or two. You cannot mass produce food for the world. From factory to your shelf to your cupboard, if it's real food. Real food will spoil within a few hours. So how do they, we were always told it was preservatives, and don't worry, it's not going to hurt you. But what is a preservative? It means it's a biocide. And the biggest one they're using is formaldehyde. Now, that is terrible that they're putting it in the burgers and the the canned foods and the box foods and the bread and everything. But did you know? You think, well, I'm not going to eat box food. I'm going to go to the store and get me some flour and make my own bread. Did you know it's in the flour? Now, if you look it up on AI, she lies. Don't tell me that AI somehow can only tell you what is available on the internet, and therefore she don't have an answer sometimes because maybe somebody took the information off the internet. That's not all it is. She's very clever because she gives you an answer that avoids telling you the truth. You can find the truth, but you got to pester her and ask the questions in several different ways and be straight up with her. And then she'll literally give you an answer that isn't straightforward. She sidesteps it. If you ask her, do they put formaldehyde in flour? She'll say yes. And then the next paragraph is, of course, formaldehyde is in just about every natural food or plant. It's a natural substance. Okay, that's not what I asked you, Mrs. AI. I asked you, do they put it in there? I'm not talking about some real thing that's in nature, which I don't know why it would be in nature if it's a bad thing. Maybe it's because it's in the fertilizer and the processing and everything else. I don't know what I think about her saying that it's in everything. It's a natural thing. It's in all foods. If it is, it's probably very, very small amounts, very small trace amounts. But the amount of formaldehyde in the flour is so severe that the flour is making us all sick. It's what's giving us the inflammation. It's a biocide. It's ripping out all the biology in our stomachs, in our intestines, and therefore it causes the inflammation, which then causes the cancers and the diabetes and the plugging up of your liver function failing, and all of these things that's going on. And it's all because, it's not because sugar's bad for you. It's not because fat's bad for you, which is what they tried to tell us. It's a complete flat out lie. It's because you cannot, it's impossible, if you go to the store, to get anywhere near the appropriate amount of actual good fat. Unless you just drink a bottle of olive oil, and then, by the way, it turns out that the olive oil that's on the shelf is probably spiked with some kind of vegetable oil. And the honey has got corn syrup in it. And guess what? Yeah, it's not supposed to be. It's illegal, but it's in there. And they will admit that there's a problem, but they won't tell you how much of a problem. I'm walking through the store yesterday, and there was a honey at Walmart, because I go to Gallup once a month, and I had to go yesterday, and I'm at Walmart, and there's the honey, and it says 100% honey. Like, of course, why would there not be 100% honey? What else were you going to put in there, right? It was all on sale. It was the little bunny ones, right? The cheap kind. And I thought, you know what? I don't believe a word you're saying. I guarantee none of this stuff is real. None of it. The FDA or whatever, not only do they not check, actually, they don't care, they're letting it all slide, but I think they actually allow a certain amount of, and not just one thing. Like, well, we allow a little corn syrup in there, but, that's fine. And we also allow a little formaldehyde and, and maybe some strychnine and some other kinds of poisons that we don't even know the names of. It's just preservatives, Dave. What's a preservative? It's a biocide. If you are wondering why everybody's gut bacteria is gone, and you're trying to figure out how you can fix that, here's the answer. Do not eat any kind of bread. It's in the flour itself. Think about this. You take a bag of flour, whether it's wheat, whole wheat, white, whatever, corn, flour, any kind of flour. It's in a paper bag. You take it home. It's been on the factory shelf for months, and you take it home. You put it in your cupboard, and it sits there for 6 months, and you use it. There's no weevils in it. There's no fungus. There's nothing. How does it, if it's just crushed wheat, why does it not spoil? Because it is loaded. Like there's probably a whole handful of formaldehyde sifted throughout your whole bag of flour. Formaldehyde is what they use in embalming. It will preserve. What was I reading the other day that they used to use formaldehyde on? Oh yeah, there was a thing on TikTok or YouTube where this girl had a jar with her ovaries or something in it. And she had a vasectomy or something, and they put it in a jar of formaldehyde. And she was on camera opening the jar and sticking her hand in there and pulling them out and talking about how she likes to put them back together once in a while just to see how they fit. And then she puts them back in the jar and puts them on the shelf. And this guy comes on and goes, formaldehyde? If you touch it or inhale it, you are in for serious side effects. But this is what they're putting in your cereal? You're like, oh, 100% whole wheat cereal, right? Yeah, but there's wheat in there, right? And they're not required to tell you that it's got formaldehyde in it. And all the wheat that goes into all the cereals and other foods that we eat, that was made with flour, is going to have formaldehyde in it, even if they don't put extra in. What about the water? It says they don't tell you it's got water in it, right? They don't have to say that, or maybe they do, but if they just say one of the ingredients is water, do they tell you what's in the water? If it's tap water, it may have arsenic, it may have fluoride, and all other kinds of poisons that, who knows? I'm telling you, friends, all the food, every last bit of it in a grocery market or anywhere that you buy, sell food, even if you bought it from a rancher out in front of his house, he just picked it from the field, it's probably got pesticides all over it, so bad that it will literally cause you to be crippled soon and give you inflammation and arthritis and eventually cancer and Alzheimer's or whatever else, and you'll die soon. I was just looking at my raisins thinking, I got these raisins and they're good for you, and I'm there trying to eat good, right? And then I stopped and think, wait a minute, I wonder if raisins have pesticides. And I looked it up, and Mrs. AI told me the truth this time. She says that raisins are one of the highest known foods that use pesticides. There's so much pesticides in there, she didn't even want to talk about it. She just said, yeah, it's the highest. And I haven't eaten any more of those raisins since. Man, I don't know, friends. I bought me a coffee grinder. Now, I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to see if I can grind my acorns and my pine nuts in that and make my own flour. And I know there ain't no pesticides in that. But anyway, the point is that we are under the greatest deception attack in the history of man. You cannot trust what you're seeing on television. Yes, the left-right paradigm is pushing you to the right. Friends, what you need to do is say, enough is enough. We're not going to vote any president in. Nobody's going to vote. We want you to close up shop, leave the Capitol, adjourn forever. And we're going back to the Constitution of the United States that says you shall make no law that will curtail my freedom. Basically, you'll make no law, because any kind of law curtails my freedom. And we all need to decide what we're going to do together ourselves. We need to just, we don't have to even think about it. All we got to do is live. Go into the woods, just tell the government we don't need them anymore. We don't want their roads, thank you very much. We don't want their pesticides and their agriculture. We'll plant our own gardens without the pesticides. We'll grow organic gardens with organic seeds, and after we get some organic produce, we'll get the seeds out of that and give them to our neighbors, and we'll start over, friends. That's the only way it's going to work. And I have to tell you, my hunch is it's not going to happen, that none of you are going to wake up. I just saw a rally, and I'm looking at this, and they're all cheering like, we've got conditioned. We think, well, they're just cheering. It's like a football game, Dave. They were worshiping Trump. Crowd was just, they're all on their feet, whoa, in heavenly choir singing, praising him, all wearing the unified robe and the red cap. And the clip I saw, the last clip, was Elon Musk standing on the pulpit. And I have never seen him like that, and I never expected him to be a good speaker. But he got up there, and they were literally down on their knees worshiping Elon Musk, the guy that runs all the technocracy around the world, Silicon Valley. He runs BlackRock, everything. SpaceX, the Twitter, the robots, the Neuralinks, the tunnels underground that they're doing, the solar plants, the PayPal accounts, everything he owns. And why does he have the highest building, the tallest building in just about every major city in the world? Downtown, the Trump Tower, in every one of these major cities like London, and I think there might be one in Moscow, Chicago, New York, three of them there, Las Vegas, Florida, other places all around the world, Germany. The only other person or company or whatever, corporation, that has a building in all those cities, the tallest building, is a bank or an insurance company, which is really the mafia, by the way. I don't know how you make that kind of money off of golf courses. A friend of mine showed me this golf course he's gotten, I think, Scotland, and it's got this crazy big castle. And I guess his mother was a MacLeod, which is one of the most highest royal bloodlines of that area or whatever. And then he's at MacDonald, which is another high bloodline from that area. I guess he's got some ancestry that goes back, and one of his ancestors is a Christ, which probably goes back to Mary Magdalene. And the other side of his family probably goes back on the Drumpf side, which is now Trump, that was prophesied in the book written in 18-something, that he'd be the last president. Come on. His uncle was the one that our clandestine shadow government that got the papers from Tesla, which was a demonic download, right, from Satan to build all this garbage that we're doing right now, was handed over to Donald Trump's uncle, John Trump. And some say, and I'm not one who says that, but some say that they figured out time travel from that, and they went into the future and planted some things and made it so that he could become president. I don't know what's going on. That WikiLeaks guy looks exactly like John Trump. Exactly. Did he go into the future? Probably not. I'm just saying this is what some people are saying. But something's going on. They know what they're doing. They've had this plan for a long time. Look, I wouldn't want to be voting for the Antichrist. I know you don't mean to. You think you're doing the right thing. But why don't you just realize that this is it? And no, I don't mean your last chance to be a human being. Okay, the Lord loves you. He's got mercy that is infinite and eternal. And he has a plan to bring everybody home. But broad and spacious is the road that leads off to destruction. And many there be that are on that road. Now, they go into destruction and they come back. The Father disciplines those that he loves. But the road that leads to eternal life is narrow, and few there be on it, friends, even now. And in fact, the elect is a very small number. And we're living in a time where the world's being deceived with such a deception that even the elect, if it were possible, would be deceived. But that's not possible. There is a group the Lord has predestined for this. I hope you're one of them. Those are the ones that follow the Lamb wherever he goes. Those are the ones that aren't playing around. You say, well, what are we going to do, Dave? We gotta do something. We got to vote for Trump because this other side's crazy. They're all working together. They're just trying to steer everybody towards Trump because, look, before Trump ever becomes the guy riding on a white horse, there's got to be absolute trouble and devastation all around the world. The bank's going down. It's either going to be before he's president or he's not going to be president maybe for now because World War III's got to happen soon. There's got to be something. The grid's going to go down or whatever to bring us to our knees and he'll ride in on a white horse. And everyone will worship him. Take a look at the politics today. Trump walks onto the stage and people are falling all over themselves. When they bowed before Jesus, they did it humbly and without too much attention drawn to themselves. Oh Lord, quietly. Oh Lord, a humble servant at your service. You know, here's my last penny. I love you, Lord. That's it. Out of respect for a man that could raise the dead. But Trump comes along, a political savior, that they pigeonholed you into a position where you feel like there's no hope. The world's going to collapse if you don't have some solution. And the only solution you could find is Trump. Politics. That's not the solution, friends. It never was. That's why we're in this situation. Because we keep listening to the baboons and the orangutans running over us. The planet of the apes. And we refuse to say, no, we're not going to listen to politicians anymore. This kingdom of the oligarchs and the BlackRock and all the pedophiles and the people running off to Epstein Island that get away with it, we're not letting them just do whatever they want anymore. Well, we don't really agree with the thingy, but oh well, he's did it now. Well, let's let him be our president. They're telling you that they're getting ready to destroy Jerusalem. When they do, they're going to be destroying most of the world. The Antichrist is going to come in on a white horse. And he's going to offer you peace and security and to buy and sell, but you got to get the mark on your hand or your forehead. Friends, that's coming. Please don't be fooled. Please remember what Jesus told you. Do not be deceived. They will say, didn't we do many powerful works in thy name, O Lord? He says, look, get away from me. I never knew you. I never knew you. You wicked, evil people. Will Jesus find faith when he returns on earth? Yes, he will. A few, the elect. It's very sad that the rest of you will not wake up. This solution that we're needing is now dire. The world is going to go into ruins without it. And the solution that we need to stop the world from going into ruins is not Donald Trump, friends. It's not less taxes. It's not martial law. It's not more military and more prisons and more, law and order and more hospitals and more thingies. It is simply that we come together in love as Jesus asked us to do. Forgive one another. Have all things common. Share our bread with our neighbors. Give them our kindness. Everyone's our brother and our sister. We need to go and leave this Babylon. And the Bible tells you that if you don't get out of Babylon, you're going to share with her in her sins and in her plagues. The plagues are coming. The Bible prophesied the plagues. If you think that Trump's going to get rid of the plagues, then he's going to defy Jesus, because Jesus has already said that plagues are coming. And when the time comes when the waves of the sea are foaming out their shame and men's hearts are failing them for fear. And they'll say, oh, he's not coming. For since our forefathers fell asleep in death, all things continue as they have from the beginning. Let's go off and eat and drink with the confirmed drunkards. Go back to the old law and have law and order. Beat our fellow servants because Jesus and his grace isn't coming. That's a very sad thing, friends. So I didn't do this video as bad news. I did this video to give you the good news. Okay, that's all there is good news for anyone who wishes to receive it. And whoever will receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved or delivered from this wrath that's coming, you will have no trouble. Not one hair of your head will be harmed. He'll prepare a table for us in the wilderness because we're going to leave the cities. We're going to get out of her, my people. And there's going to be a place in the wilderness for us, a refuge, where we will have all things common, loving one another. As a beacon on the hill, those who finally, during this tribulation, there's going to be one plague after another. And it keeps saying, oh, and they still wouldn't repent, and they still wouldn't repent. Friends, I hope you'll repent before the tribulation begins. And you could be one of the helpers that will be standing, distributing the food and the kindness and the love and the clothing and the gospel for those weary soldiers of Christ who need it. It's here. Come to the wilderness, my friends. Get out of the city now. We don't have any more time. The time is less than short. When it does go down and the stores close, the roads are blocked, and the tanks move into your cities, and the mask ordinances is put into place, and only those that will comply will be able to eat, and the rioters will come to your home and rape and pillage your family, rob you, and leave you for dead. And real pestilence will be sweeping the world, and plagues. The Bible tells you. But it says that 1,000 shall fall at our left hand and thousands at our right hand, but it will not come nigh unto us. Because Jesus is coming, and he's going to gather us together out of the world and bring us into the barn. But the rest of the world, they're going to be gathered like the chaff that's gathered into piles and then burned. And the angels are the reapers. And somebody asked me what that means. It means that the angels are the ones that's in charge of the souls of men after they die to take them to their appointed stations. And the demons are out running around. They've come up out of the bottomless pit at this point. And they're torturing and tormenting the souls on earth. It will be literal torture of the shame and the guilt. People murdering one another because they wouldn't just receive the love of the truth that they might be saved. That's all you have to do, friends. And even at any point you decide to turn into the Lord and say, Lord, save me, help me, forgive me, he will. The purpose for Jesus to come on earth is to save those that were lost. And if you're lost, he wants to save you. Let's do it now, friends. I don't want any of you to suffer through this trouble. All those that are in Christ, there is no condemnation. We don't get the wrath. And he will protect us from the 10 days of trial, which is that short tribulation that's coming. I'm going to go ahead and go, friends. Please pray. Seek the Lord. Love your neighbor. Read your scriptures. And prepare. I'm David Vose. I hope you have a wonderful evening. The Lord will bless you. And we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.